our presentation.
Okay, thank you. So this is a presentation on the city's sustainability efforts. During this year's State of the City address, I spoke several times about various sustainability initiatives which the City Council has strongly advocated for in recent years and which have shown to not only positively impact the environment but also the city's bottom line. So tonight I'm happy to unveil the city's new sustainability hub on our website, which will serve as a one-stop shop for residents to learn about sustainability-related projects, resources, and programs available to them. Presenting with me tonight is Tina Carton, whose formal title is Administrator of Parks, Open Lands, Historic Preservation, and Sustainability. I call her basically our Director of Sustainability, and she does a great job. And I said that. So she's worked tirelessly on this hub. I want to thank her very much, and I also want to point out that IT has put a lot of effort into this. Jim Baker in particular. IT sits in the finance department, so we've worked pretty closely together on this hub. I had hoped that we would be unveiling this in January or February, but it takes a lot of time to put all this content together. So with that, before we unveil the new website, I first want to give a review and overview of the city's major accomplishments regarding sustainability and resiliency. So the first thing is the Spa Solar Park, which resides on what was previously a landfill. The project was financed through NYSERDA's New York Sun program, the governor's New York Sun program, in collaboration with Sustainable Saratoga, who I will discuss in greater detail a little bit later in this presentation. The facility has been operational for a year and a half and has generated roughly 4 million kilowatt hours of electricity, resulting in over $66,000 in budgetary savings, and this solar generation equates to 123,000 gallons of fuel, the average daily electricity consumption of 140,000 homes, or 1.5 million trees worth of CO2 being offset. Big success. I like to call this a win-win for the city. It sits on a landfill. What else would we do with this landfill? And we've got nearly 8,000 panels out there, and people are pretty proud of it, generally speaking. This slide shows metrics. The monthly performance of the Spa Solar Park, as well as the cumulative savings. But on the Sustainability Hub, when we get to that part, you will see that we now have a link to a dashboard. We use this dashboard internally. Now it will be available to the public, so residents can get up-to-the-minute information on how the facility is performing in the, going forward. Other city initiatives on energy beyond the Spa Solar Park, the City Council has taken a variety of steps to foster sustainability and resiliency, including the authorization of Energize Pace New York Finance in the city. We need to do more to get more information out about this program. It's a great program. The program provides an alternative financing option for green projects that make commercial and not-for-profit properties more efficient. So you would be able to capitalize these, say, over a 20-year period. You could get billed for this, say, through your property tax bill at a very low interest rate. We need to get more information out to entities about this program. The city was the first municipality in our area to sign up for community choice aggregation, in which residents citywide would have access to greener supply of electricity. This initiative has been slow to move forward, but we hope to have a positive announcement soon, working with Tina in the near future about a program we may enter into. The city, led by DPW and Tina, has installed dual-port EV charging stations on city-owned parking lots. These stations are seeing consistent usage and provide the city with useful data as we look to expand this program. Public safety has updated traffic lights citywide to more efficient LEDs, and they're also working on upgrading all the fire station lighting to LEDs. I'm going to turn over slides 5, 6, and 7 to Tina. She's going to talk about trails and walking, a bunch of city committees and the boards that we have, and some recognition that the city has received on our sustainability efforts.
So for clean transportation, the city's really been working to try to increase walkability, bikeability, make all modes of transportation accessible to all. We, as you know, have an award-winning, vibrant, walkable downtown, something that communities all around really look at and strive to be. we completed and adopted a 2016 Complete Streets Plan. In 2014, we adopted the Saratoga Greenbelt Trail. I just wanted to share, some people don't know, but Capital District Transportation Committee actually did trail usage, and they had counters out on the trails in 2017, and they counted approximately 127,452 annual users just on Railroad Run. So this is, for a small community where you have a lot of people out using these trails. They're very, I actually tabled at Saratoga Sustainability Fair, a lot of interest in the trails, a lot of excitement. The city also has been supporting, through the mayor's office, CDTA's bike share program. Last year, we had 6,409 trips in the city, which is really substantial. We were actually the second city amongst the ranking for the bike share usage, and we're the lowest population of all those cities. This year, through working with the mayor, we applied through the Transportation Improvement Program for what we're calling the Missing Links Program. And this is a proposed 3.4 miles of new sidewalks, making sidewalk connections throughout the city. Right now, the TIP program, as it's called, the Transportation Improvement Program, is up for public comment. I believe the public comment ends first week of June, and then they'll be voting. So we'll hear by the end of June whether or not we've received that funding. But so that's a program that we're working on right now. There's a number of boards and committees that I work with and others work with in the city, and different types of recognition that the city's received for all the work that they've done. We are a designated clean energy community. We completed multiple high-impact action items that foster renewable and energy efficiency within our community. We are awarded the Soul Smart Silver Community designation from the U.S. Department of Energy. And it provides it for communities that reduce solar barriers, provide technical expertise. So this is all for the Spa Solar Park, as well as Solarize Saratoga and a number of other initiatives that the city is working on. Through DPW, we have the Arbor Day Foundation Tree City recognition. So this was recognizing the city that made 4 core standards of urban forestry management. We have a designation as a bronze walk-friendly community, and this was a national recognition program for communities prioritizing safer walking environments, and it was supported by the U.S. Department of Transportation. And then,
thank you. So much of the work that we have discussed here has been supported by Sustainable Saratoga, which is a local not-for-profit that promotes sustainable practices and the protection of natural resources through education, advocacy, and action. And I'm happy to say that we have representatives here from Sustainable Saratoga. Thank you for coming. Art Holmberg, who's the chair, Harry Moran, past chair. Very nice to have you both here. Sustainable Saratoga recently partnered with Skidmore College and held a sustainability fair on April 6th, and the city hosted a booth there, and Tina was there hosting it. I had planned to be there with her, but I ended up being in Nashville, and that was a great time too. But I heard it was very successful, very successful. So I would like to say that Sustainable Saratoga is focused on 4 project areas: climate and energy, urban forestry, zero waste, and land use. The city and Sustainable Saratoga have worked closely on a variety of successful projects, including the aforementioned Spa Solar Park, and we are currently discussing programs with them such as downtown recycling and affordable housing initiatives, among others. Looking to the future, we're leading a citywide effort right now with finance, DPW, and the mayor's office, looking into how to convert all our streetlights throughout the city into smarter, more efficient streetlights. We have over 2,000 streetlights. Tina's leading a program with CDTC We're looking at putting together a guidebook on the best way to move forward and have smarter, more efficient. When I say that, we want not just LED converted streetlights, we want to have smart capabilities in our streetlights. That might lead to being able to have 5G, sensors, parking sensors, street monitoring sensors for, say, road and climate conditions. So we're looking at evaluating all sorts of things when it comes to our streetlights. On community choice aggregation, which I did touch on earlier, while we haven't moved as quickly as we initially thought, being a leader in the region on this topic has led to an exciting opportunity that we hope to speak about in the coming weeks. On EV charging, any questions about how they would be used in the city have been answered. They are being used. We have data that's being tracked, so we hope to strategically install more of these moving forward. And then advocacy. The city does what it can, but we also look for support for sustainability efforts through various professionals throughout the county, including Tina's role in the USDN and also from state and federal elected officials. I did this whole same presentation recently for Paul Tonko, our congressman, when he was here for office hours. I want him to know about all the sustainability work that goes right on here in Saratoga Springs and a community that he represents. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Tina, and she's going to go through the website very quickly. Thank you.
Oops. Oh, okay. So we were trying to work on the website to make a landing page showing some of the different awards that the city has gotten. And then this is just a quote from the last comprehensive plan saying that sustainable development enhances economic opportunity, community well-being while protecting human natural resources upon which the future of our economy and our community depend. I think that's a very well-stated statement from the comprehensive plan. The Spa Solar Park has kind of shown that, a lot of these things, they're not just green, but they're really good for the bottom line. So we have information about the bike share program. So when you come over to this tab, you can kind of find out more, find out where the hubs are, get additional information. We also have information on the Climate Smart Task Force and what the Climate Smart Task Force is working on. We have information and an overview of what community choice aggregation is and how it works. We have a landing page for Complete Streets, and the Complete Streets page then can link you up to a number of all of the different policies. It goes over the meetings, the meeting agendas, so you can see how you can get involved in Complete Streets if you're interested in that. We also have information for businesses and not-for-profits on how to use Energize New York PACE financing. So Energize PACE financing, as Commissioner Madigan before, it helps finance energy efficiency and renewable projects on businesses, and it stays with the property and not with the business or not with the not-for-profit. So it's a really good opportunity for these organizations. They only move forward with projects that have a very good return on investment so that it's not a burden, but it's actually revenue neutral for the businesses to do, or revenue positive for the businesses to do these improvements. We also have information on the EV charging stations that were put in the city. And the EV charging stations, we had grants for the installations of both of them. DPW did in-kind services to do the wiring, and they've been extremely successful. We have one in the Woodlawn Conley parking garage, and then we have one in the Woodlawn Walton parking garage. And then also, I just had a fun fact on the bottom. Saratoga Springs, of all 1,436 zip codes in the state, we have the 22nd highest numbers of electrical vehicles registered. So there's a lot of interest in electrical vehicles in this community, and there are a lot of people adopting that technology, and I get thanked a lot from people who are from out of town, and they all come and they're at the restaurants downtown, and they say, oh, it was really great that we were able to charge, when we were in the restaurants. They have, through public safety, we work to get the signage so you're allowed to stay there for 4 hours. So they are limited. We're trying to get turnover so people don't stay there too long, and they allow other people to charge. We also have information on municipal energy benchmarking that my intern from Skidmore actually just finished this again, and it just helps us look at energy usage on city buildings, and then kind of, helps us and guides us on which buildings may need additional support or resources or work, which ones are operating really efficiently. I looked at this building, and it was interesting how little the electricity use actually changed when we all moved in here, but the basketball courts were made for people actually exercising and not sitting down, so they did have to turn the heat up, and so we did have more gas usage, which absolutely would have, we would have known that that was going to happen. But it's interesting, so you can see different things that we might have done, some building improvements we might have done, and then you can track what happens with those over time. And the Open Space Committee has been extremely busy in the last few years. We're currently working on a natural resource inventory, so if you wanted to find out more about that program and about the information that we're putting together, we have information on a public workshop that we hosted in January, the presentation, and then a number of the relevant plans that you can take a look at. And then the last site, well, we have information on the Greenbelt Trail. The Greenbelt Trail also has its own website, but we wanted to make sure that we put up information on kind of on the city side, and it shows you where we are on the downtown connector, which is a fully funded 1.66 mile extension of the Greenbelt Trail that we're currently working on. So if you wanted to find out more information about the Greenbelt Trail, you can visit that part. And then very similar to what Commissioner Madigan had shown, we have information on the Spa Solar Park and on the savings to date. We've also been working with the DPW, and in the future there'll be an urban forestry landing page, but that one needs a little bit more. That's kind of more complicated, more work right now. So we haven't completed that page yet.
And then right there is that link, so that'll go live tomorrow, because we've been working really hard on getting that. But that'll go live to the dashboard that shows the usage at the Spa Solar Park in real time.
Yeah. And the only way that they were able to do this was to provide the link with the ID and the password, and they're sharing it with all the community.
Right. Thank you.
And now I try to get back to the, nope, that's Pitney Farm. Next presentation.
Next presentation.
And in terms of some of the, let me see, go back to my slideshow. So the committees and boards, we have a climate smart task force. They're currently working on a clean heat campaign to educate about geothermal and mini split heat pumps. They're going to be assisting with the community choice aggregation. The Complete Street Advisory Board has a number of projects: the Henry Street Greenbelt Trail, the Greenbelt Trail Downtown Connector, the YMCA intersection crossing improvements. This is something that people have been asking for years. We're going to Public Safety and Public Works are working together to get a crossing beacon over to make it safer, because currently that's a very odd angle and scary. Also, the Missing Link Sidewalk Improvement Program. The Open Space Advisory Committee is completing the natural resource inventory. They're going to be working to update the open space plan. We've also been working with Sustainable Saratoga on trying to get conservation easement mapping. And then there's also Commissioner Madigan's Smart City Commission that's also working towards sustainability.
Did you, can we touch a little bit on what's going to happen on Henry Street? Because that's interesting. Or did you already?
Yeah, so Henry Street, actually, right now, we already had the traffic counts taken, and they've been doing the turn counts. But the idea is the Greenbelt Trail is supposed to go right through the core of downtown, and it needs to get from the end of the downtown connector, which is the corner of Lake Avenue and High Rock, to Congress Park, and then from Congress Park to Railroad Run. So we're focusing right now on the segment between Lake Avenue and Spring Street to get to Congress Park. We're proposing to do a pilot demonstration project, a temporary changing of Henry Street to a one-way street in September. Instead of alternate side parking, parking would only be on one side of the street, and then a two-way cycle track would be on the other side of the street. we can't really change the configuration of the streets. We're not going to be ripping up the sidewalks to put the Greenbelt Trail down through that segment, so we're trying to figure out how we work with the existing street topography to have that work. We'll be getting a lot of community feedback and see if this is something the community's interested in. Oops, I think I already went through that. Oh, I'm going the wrong way now. No, I think this is, for some reason, out of order. Oh, looking to the future. There. I think that was all of the slides.
All the
Thank
slides
you.
and an overview of the website. So thank you, Tina, and thank you to IT, and thank you to all the city departments. I think every single city department here does its has a role to play in sustainability here at in the city.
Yeah, and then will be
We're gonna-
followed, some of the work from the Open Space Committee was the Pitney Meadow Community Farm, so it's a perfect roll into their presentation.
Yes, it is.
Right, I would like to make one comment on that. I was down at the county today for a shared services on the street light conversions, so we might be doing a shared services with that. Welcome, Pitney Farm friends.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
so-
found you in
Yeah.
the right building. Thank you, Meg, for
Sure.
texting back. There we go. I want to just say how exciting it is to hear Tina speak as someone who worked on that Railroad Run Trail for about 25 years. First the original trail, then extending it through the Y, and then as Skip remembers, took us 10 years to get that push-button crossing light. And I love seeing the trail sign now that indicate that's probably the heaviest used section of trail in all of Saratoga Springs. I also want to just acknowledge the city council for bringing on Tina in the role that she's in. We've needed that role for a long time. She's been fantastic. I've worked with her now with the Greenbelt Trail, with the Pitney Farm. We are very lucky in this city to have her on staff.
I think we all agree with you.
She's
a real
amazing.
gem for
And
this
I know
city.
it was a stretch, and I think it's been well worth it in so many ways.
And thank you, Tina.
I'm here tonight. The last time I was really in front of you folks was at the very end of 2016, when we, with your great help, were able to get the $1.2 million Bond Act monies from the city of Saratoga Springs, $100,000 from the county, and to acquire, and a bridge loan from Adirondack Trust Bank. Thank you, Charles. To be able to acquire the land. And here we are at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. I just wanted to give you an update and a thank you. First of all, in 2018, a year early, we paid off the land. Thanks to all of the founding patrons and hundreds of donors, we were able to totally pay off the land, and now Pitney Meadows Community Farm will be preserved forever. Secondly, we began in 2017 our community garden program, and I have Joyce Carroll here to just give you a couple words about the growth of the community gardens in these 3 seasons.
Hi. The good news is that the community garden grew from 40 beds the first year to 70 beds, and now we are up to 100 beds. And we just finished 2 consecutive bed building days with volunteers, and who did 26 beds in two Saturdays. And so that will bring us to over 100 beds. We now have 7 community groups gardening with us, including Saratoga Bridges, the Senior Center, the Waldorf School, Franklin Community Center, the Community Health Center, and we'll have 12 Girl Scout troops in the garden. We had a wonderful donor come forward and sponsor 2 large beds that will accommodate 8 troops. So we're very excited to have these young people in the garden. And I'll pass it back to Barbara. We're just
Next
happy to be
slide,
growing.
Thank you. Volunteers, as Joyce said, we have had hundreds of volunteers, not only building the garden beds, but painting and scraping and painting buildings, repairing roofs, restoring the garden shed, working on the hoop house that we have, and working in the fields that we've had. Next. The fields we've been restoring over the last couple of years, both having to do cover crop to let them be restored from the prior uses, and we've started planting gardens in those fields. And this year now, for the first time, we'll be expanding the field production at the farm. One of the really wonderful things is our interest. We have something called the Giving Garden, which has received funding that has allowed us. We started by last year growing over 400 pounds of food for Franklin Community Center within the community gardens. Now we will, in addition to the community gardens where the Girl Scouts will be growing, we're beginning to have fields that will be dedicated for that use. And recently we received a joint grant with the Cooperative Extension to be growing food for Saratoga High School, just across the road. So we'll be able to engage students and be growing vegetables for the high school program. Many of you knew Charlotte Justin or Dr. Alan Justin in town and the Justin family. This last year, they, as an entire family, after Charlotte's death, donated the money, and we were able to build a pergola in the very center of the garden. And there it's both illuminated and it has got a little electric on the side, and it's been a place where we were able to have receptions, and starting this summer in collaboration with Cafe Lena, we'll be doing Sunday informal concerts in the garden. So anybody who wants to can come have iced tea or lemonade, whether you're a gardener or not. It's a welcoming place to come and just enjoy the community farm. Many, many community events have happened there, from storytelling on Saturday mornings to all kinds of classes on growing tomatoes or harvesting herbs. Just last weekend we had one on how to grow bees, working with Jen Dunn, because we have beehives now in the back of the farm. We had the Fairy Festival this last spring and in the fall, and as I say, we'll be doing more performance-related experiences on the farm as well as our fire feast, which once a year we do a major dinner or two on the farm. It's a major fundraiser for the farm itself. One of the wonderful things, and it ties in so well because the farm itself will be part of the Greenbelt Trail system and have its own trail program. And I've asked Peter Gutos, who's chairing that committee for the Board of Directors, just to mention where we are out in trail planning.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for having us in today. It seems like only a couple of days ago that I was standing in front of you talking about the aspirations of Pitney Meadows Community Farm. And Commissioner Sirocco, I remember you charged us with something, and that was recreation. This is a plan that we've put together with the support of 7 core members and over 20 participants who come to meetings once a month over the last year and a half, and have basically allowed us to design, with the help of a consultant, a trail system which will encompass the farm. Now, this is the farm part that's off of West. We're not doing anything right now with the back 30-some-odd acres. But this relates to a 1.6-mile perimeter trail with offshoots, and the offshoots will bring into being approximately a mile of walking trails. So what we'll get is connectivity of the entire farm. People will be able to see what's going on. Connectivity to the Spring Run Trail, or Saratoga Greenbelt Trail system, which is the ballast line, which is from the triangle there. You can see the dotted dashed lines there that would connect over to the YMCA. That's our connectivity to western part of Saratoga Springs, a great population. And we have little fingers that go around that give us access to the resources that we have. I'm so thankful for your support. I'm thankful for your trust, and so is our team. We've embarked on this, and people were participative, collaborative, and we have one other really big benefit. The Pitneys allowed us this benefit, but they didn't leave us. And to a person, they've all come back, and they've contributed, and Kathy Pitney has been a big supporter of what we're doing here and a major contributor, and we're so happy about that. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the high school track team runs on the land last fall and this spring. Judith Pitney helped by us funding a restroom facility to have on the property. And as you see here, as we are slowly growing from an all-volunteer board to a slowly growing a staff, beloved Bill Pitney shows up every day to tend the land, to plow, to take his tractor, to spread manure, and to continue to watch out for the farm that has been in their family since the 1860s. Well, back one more. So we have, okay, which one's back? We have Ken Klein-Peter, who comes to us with about 30 years of farm-related experience, who is our farm director. We have, there we go. We have Joyce, who's come to us also with many years of outdoor and conservation-related work as our program director and working in the community gardens. And on the lower left, you see Eliza, our young farmer, grew up on a farm over near Arlington, Vermont, and is now coming to be our first farmer. And as we're saying, we are breaking the grass ceiling by having her be on the land, which is wonderful. Next. Here we are. Our mission will be to serve this community, to save the land, to grow food for this community, to educate, and to be a place for people to recreate. We are so happy to be there. We are so grateful. And in the very last, we have preserved that view shed that the Open Space Committee was so protective of. So in the end, I love the fact that we had unanimous support from the City Council when we acquired the land, and we wanted to come back and just let you know where we're at with it, invite you to come back and return with us to enjoy this place, and to thank you for all your support in making this happen. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful place. We've had over 2,800 visitors in the last year. We just had 140 show up at our community forum to get community input and feedback. And it's just a wonderful cross-section of the community that can meet over tomatoes or meet sitting in the garden listening to a concert. We welcome you and we thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for your dedication. Okay, there's, continuing on our agenda, there is no executive session, and I'll move